Are you worried that what if you start that business, maybe create that product or a service, and then you launch it and finally you realize that there is nobody willing to pay you money for that? Will that not be very disheartening? Don't worry, because in today's video we'll be seeing how do you ensure that there is an existing market for your business before you even launch it. Hey, this is Jyotsna Ramachandran from Home Entrepreneur TV. This is episode 7. In the previous 2 videos, I was talking to you about the first 2 steps to identify that perfect business idea. In the first video, I showed you how to actually find out if you have the passion for that particular subject. In the next video, I showed you how do you realize if you really are good at that particular thing. Now, once you cross those 2 stages, that is, you know that you have the passion and you know that you have the skill, you then go ahead and find out if there is a market for that particular business idea. Now, there are a couple of ways of doing this. The first step is to find out, are there other businesses, are there other people who are already doing this kind of thing? Is there an existing market for whatever you want to do? You can do this by either just Googling that topic, maybe you want to start a translation service. So you just Google and type, translating documents from English to German or English to Hindi or whatever. And you just see the results. Are there other services, are there other companies doing something similar? You can also go to freelance websites like upwork.com and see whether people are posting jobs for that particular thing. Are there people who are asking for translators? So that's a very good indicator that there is an existing potential for this particular subject. Now, some of you may be thinking, what if there are too many people doing the same thing? Isn't that too much competition? I don't look at it that way. I think if there are a lot of people doing it, it's a very good indication that there is a huge market for what you want to do. And it's a good thing that the other people are doing it. Now, how can you make your business sustain? Make your offering and positioning unique. Maybe you just don't want to be a general translation service. Maybe you want to focus on one particular market. Maybe you want to do just school textbooks, or you want to just do office documents. So you can that way narrow down your market and then market your particular service or product for that particular market. So that will make it very effective to target. Now, what if your product or service is very unique and there is nobody else doing it? Now, that could really turn off a lot of people from trying out a new business idea. Now, you can actually figure out if there are people willing to pay you money for it even before you actually create that product or service. Here's how you do it. Maybe a few years ago, this concept of vegan raw food was very unique and maybe there was nobody talking about it, and you just want to make it popular on the internet. So before you even create a solid product or service, you can actually start creating content to create awareness so that you build a following. Maybe you launch a blog or a podcast or a YouTube channel like this and start talking about it, and gradually you will build a following. And then what you do is, once there are few hundred people who are interested in what you're doing, then you ask them this question about, hey, you've been following whatever I'm sharing, so what if I create some product? Maybe I create a raw food vegan recipe book. Will you be willing to pay money for that? So you tell them, in 3 months time I'm launching this book for $20, but for those of you who pre-order the book, I'm going to give it away for $10. Are you willing to go for it? Now, if 100 people jump in and say, hey, I love this idea, I want to pay and pre-order this book, and they actually shell out money from their credit card, that's a very good indicator that yes, this book has the potential to sell, and you go ahead and start creating that book. But what if just 2 people sign up and the rest of the people are not interested in paying money for it, they just want to consume the free content? Then don't worry, you can just return the money of those 2 people and say that, hey, I dropped the idea because I'm working on some other project. So that way you will actually test the market before you spend money and time in creating something. Irrespective of whatever your product or service is, there is a way to see if there is an existing market. So once you meet all these 3 criteria, the first one is to see whether you have the passion for it, the second one is to see whether you are skillful enough to deliver it, and finally you check whether there is a market for it, and that's when you actually end up launching the business. So I hope this video was useful. I really want to know your feedback on how you're liking these videos. So please comment below and tell me more about how you're liking this and what kind of videos you want to see from me in the future. So that will really help me to improve my channel as well. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next week.